Never again. There is something of a common thread, both in Britain and the United States, when black people take to the streets and create disorder. After peace has been restored, there is a good deal of wringing of hands, and we ask ourselves why this should have happened. What are the grievances which afflict the black community? What can we do to address the discontent and make them feel better so that they won't riot again? This has been a common theme for many years now. After rioting in the South London district of Brixton in the spring of 1981, for instance, an inquiry was set up by the government under Lord Scarman to look into the causes of the riot and in particular to find out why black people were unhappy. What could be done to make them feel better? Does anybody now remember the Scarman Inquiry? After ferocious rioting by black people in the Toxteth district of Liverpool in the summer of 1981, Deputy Prime Minister Michael Heseltine was dispatched to the city to see if anything could be done to make black people less likely to riot in the future. More recently, in 2020, we saw some serious disorder orchestrated by the Black Lives Matter movement. In London, on June 6 that year, 14 police officers were injured by black rioters, including a policewoman who suffered from a broken collarbone and a collapsed lung after a bicycle was thrown at her. The result of this was a frantic effort by politicians and police officers to kneel down, literally, and see what they could do to make things better and avoid black people feeling upset and angry. This is when the current craze for decolonization, the removal of statues, the altering of museum displays, even the changing of the names of museums, as happened with the Jeffrey Museum in Hackney, began. It was an attempt to appease those black rioters. The reaction to the white working class riots, which we have lately seen, could scarcely be more different. Nobody wishes to understand those people. Their grievances are not going to be examined. Nobody is about to redress any wrongs which they might have suffered. Instead, they are dismissed as thugs, and the answer is not to understand them, but rather to see how quickly they can be sent to prison. This is odd, for the rioting by those white people was also caused by discontent and anger. Some of the things which cause those feelings of fury and despair are the result of the country no longer being an industrial power, of course. They see derelict factories and boarded up shops and find that their old familiar neighbourhoods, shops, even the high street, are changing and decaying. Do you think that the Deputy Prime Minister is going to spend 3 weeks in some northern town looking into the concerns of the white working class people there, the way that Michael Heseltine did in 1981? I wouldn't think so for a moment. The truth is, nobody cares what white working class people think or feel, except every few years when there's an election, that is. For the rest of the time, they are ignored and treated with contempt. That the Conservative Party should do so is not perhaps all that surprising, but that we now have a Labour government which is doing this is a slap in the face. If those working people cannot rely on Labour to represent their interests, then who can they turn to? Popular dissatisfaction is seldom suppressed in the long run by aggressive policing and fierce prison sentences. Something is simmering away now, and unless the problem is actually addressed, it will grow much, much worse.